Am I the a-hole for not letting my fiancé's best friend live with us anymore, leading to the end of our 5-year relationship? Hi, I am currently going through a breakup with my fiancé, and I need input from strangers. My friends have been validating a lot of my feelings, but I feel like that could be bias. Some context: I'm 26M. She is 23F. We'll call her Kate. We've been together just under 5 years. Engaged for almost 2. I proposed on our anniversary. Anyway, this time last year we moved into a rental property my parents own with her best friend. We'll call her May F. 27. For the 18 months leading up to this job I had worked law enforcement. That job 100% made me realize that you can't change the system from within, and made me fully a cab. I was injured a few times and also dealt with some close calls and some really heavy things. Even though I knew I should have been talking to a psychologist about these things during my time, I kept neglecting my mental health until I broke down. I got injured again, couldn't stop smoking, and quit the job. I was in denial about my PTSD and kept trying to push past it and get a different job in security. I couldn't do this. And the feeling of failure combined with being terrified of everyone around me outside, I struggled to find the motivation to find another job or do anything. I struggled going to the shops for some time. During this time, me and May were always around each other and butting heads. Shortly after we moved in, we were setting up rooms. I asked her to not touch some 3D printed D&D models that I had made and painted, due to some breaking and transport and me not wanting to risk more damage. She ended up moving all of them while setting up shelves, and even unboxed ones I didn't want unboxed. I told her I had specifically asked her not to touch them, and it upset me she did. Her response was, I needed to unbox stuff and put it on shelves before the party. We had a housewarming coming up. I told her she could have done that without touching them. She yelled, they wouldn't have been touched if you had done it yourself. When I talked to my fiancé about this, she took May's side. This established a pattern. May would do something that crossed a boundary, and she would yell at that. I did also do things which crossed her boundaries. And I did try to apologize and explain that I didn't understand that had been an issue, and clear communication would help me understand in the future. Few months go by. I am terrified of May. Every time I'm around her, my heart is pounding. I'm looking for weapons. My body is reacting to her as a threat. And I unfortunately responded by being angry. I felt like my fiancé wasn't doing anything to make the house feel welcome to me. I begged her to talk to May, and she said she did. But that I needed to apologize first and show that I can change. Eventually in January it reached a point where May would clean a small section of our patio and sit and smoke. We would all sit and smoke together. She would only clean the section she sat. That area was where I sat most of the time when she wasn't around. One week she got angry because I left my stuff in her spot, and a different day I didn't immediately stop smoking and move over for her. I told her it was a communal area and she didn't own that spot. The next day I came home and she was building a couch in that area. I told my fiancé that it seemed like a petty attempt to take ownership of the space. My fiancé dismissed that, but also said I wouldn't be able to sit on it due to the weight rating of it. I tried to overlook it, but I asked my fiancé to bring up moving it, because at this point I was too scared to talk to May and was avoiding her. My fiancé refused for a while, then did, and said the couch stayed, and started telling me to suck it up, her actual words. This led to us arguing and me picking the couch up over our heads and moving it to the other side of the table. At this point May said they were moving out. I said it wasn't going to work with us together in the house. My fiancé and May spent the next 6 months just telling me to stop being angry and apologize, and that everything was my fault. I had felt so ashamed for this entire year. I didn't tell my friends any of this until this past week. I was constantly sent to the bedroom when May was around, though she wasn't there every day. It felt like I wasn't welcome in the house. When I asked when May was moving out, I was told she wasn't. Then she was. And this kept happening. I stayed scared of May. And then my fiancé began screaming at and berating me for not having empathy, for not loving her or caring about her. I yelled too, but I also slowly began to feel hated by her, and as it went on, I just wanted to do anything to keep her happy. I apologized and was yelled at by May. This happened 3 times in a row, so I gave up. I didn't care about May anymore. She destroyed the friendship we had. I felt so unsafe. I wanted her out of my life, but I could never ask my fiancé to give up her friendship. I just didn't want her in the house. I accused my fiancé of having an emotional affair. She denied anything, but also told me May thought she has been in love with Kate, but talked it through with a psychologist and she just loves her like a sister. This struck me as weird, and a lot of my friends are calling it manipulative. But last week we hit a point. Kate had gone off and spent the night where May has been staying and told me she was staying at 10:30 p.m. She gave May $1,000 recently to FIC their car. I finally talked to some friends about everything. They made me feel validated in my fear, my suspicions, and just didn't make me feel crazy anymore. I had been conflicted with how I felt. I knew I was wrong to be angry and I was sorry for my actions. and I tried to make up from them, but when I asked for the same, I got yelled at for asking. It felt like I was being told May can act however she wants and Kate will defend her, but if I step a toe out of line, I will be told off. I felt like a third in my own engagement. Brief recap: my fiancée, Kate, and I of almost 5 years broke up a month ago after moving into a house with her best friend, May. I was suffering from PTSD and left my job in law enforcement. I had set some boundaries with May and she kept crossing them. She would also get angry, yell at me, and get in my face, and Kate would always dismiss these outbursts. I stayed at my parents' house for a week. After returning, I didn't know if Kate would be there or not. She wasn't. She took the cat and a few items of clothing, and all our sheets and pillows. I reached out asking if she wanted to talk about things and if she was working that Wednesday because we could sit down and discuss who gets what and her moving out. She had threatened to take all the furniture during the breakup, so I wanted to sit down and actually divide the things we'd bought together between us. She said she didn't want to meet, and that she asked for my roster to collect her stuff when I'm not there. Because of her threatening to take the bed and everything else, I said I didn't want her in the house without me and would change the locks. She eventually said she wanted to do it via text, but I told her it should be in person. There are a lot of things in a lot of random places which actually needed to be sorted through. She refused. I then found out a few days later from my brother she had messaged my parents, telling them I had turned off all her fish tanks and wasn't letting her in to do anything to them. I was more than happy for her to come over whilst I was here. I just didn't trust her after finding out about a lot of her lies about my friends hating me. My parents called, and the 4 of us spoke. My brother confirmed the tanks were all on and were clean. My parents told me she had hired a moving crew for Tuesday to get all her stuff. My parents own the house we live in. I put a lock on the bedroom door and changed all the locks in the house. I told her Tuesday didn't work for me, but Wednesday would work. She refused and said she was coming, so I sent the list of things she wasn't to take. And she insisted on taking the entire bedroom set. I told my manager about what was happening. She knew about the breakup. I broke down at work the next day and told her. She was so understanding and actually helped a lot, and I'm so thankful for her. On Tuesday, they came just before I left for work. I called my brother and he started coming towards the house. I had moved all Kate and May's belongings outside that I could find and move. Had a friend help me with May's bed. My brother arrived after I left and told me they were inside the house. I told my manager, who agreed to let me leave early when the second staff started, which was in 5 hours. My brother planted himself on the sofa, kept an eye on the bedroom, and kept me updated. When I arrived, they'd gutted most of the house of all of their stuff, but also a few of my items. I found more out after it was over. But she took one of my consoles and the cables to my other, so I couldn't use it. They didn't get in the bedroom or get the couch at least. I later found out they stole my cookbooks, the rice and flour, and a few other weird things. However, not long after, I decided to try and put myself back out there and just try and have some fun casual dates until I'm ready for something long-term. However, I quickly realized it wasn't for me anymore and I wanted something seriously. But I met someone and we immediately clicked. We were sending these huge paragraphs, info dumping to each other, and we shared a lot of the same interests and passions. We've gone out a few times now and I really like them, and I really hope this works out well. Taking it slowly though. Love stories like this? Then make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe so you never miss what's coming next.